I'd like to welcome everyone to our Elmore County Commission work session dated Monday, April 9, 2018 at 5 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll begin with regular business, a review of the minutes of the March 26, 2018 Commission meeting, and any corrections. Any comments or corrections? Any commissioners? A review of the memorandum of warrants for the period of March 17, 2018 through April 3, 2018.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the memorandum of warrants for the period stated is $1,246,705.18.
Thank you. Any comments or questions there? Okay, we'll proceed to new business. Before we do that, I'd like to make sure we recognize the Mayor of Tallahassee, Mr. Johnny Hammock. We appreciate you being here. We enjoy having our mayors and other elected officials come to our meetings when it's available. We'll proceed now with our new business. We'd like to invite Mr. Will Sutton from Beasley Allen Law Firm to come to the podium here and address the County Commission regarding opioid litigation.
Thank you. My name is Will Sutton. I'm with the Beasley Allen Law Firm.
Turn your mic on. Oh, is it?
Can you hear me now? I'm with the Beasley Allen Law Firm in Montgomery, and I'm part of our opioid litigation team. We represent a number of cities and counties in the ongoing opioid litigation, and I just want to talk with you briefly about the epidemic and how it is impacting the cities and counties, particularly Elmore County. When I say opioid epidemic, it impacts cities and counties through what I call societal costs. That comes in the form of law enforcement costs, hospitalization, drug education, rehab, the list goes on. How does a city or county recoup those costs? Through litigation, of course, and that's why I'm here today. There's really two options for the county to try to recoup those costs. Filing a lawsuit in state court or filing a lawsuit in federal court. Personally, and our firm believes that the federal court option is the better option. It has some benefits of being in the multi-district litigation. And when I say multi-district litigation, a lot of people get that confused with class actions. It's not. Elmore County's case, should it decide to file a lawsuit in federal court, would be an individual case that gets the benefit of having certain pretrial issues handled on a consolidated basis. What that means to you and me is less costs to pursue the county's case. There are some other benefits. Oftentimes, when you have multi-district litigation, there's a better chance of some type of resolution for the case before it goes to trial. But in pursuing these cases, they're typically against the manufacturers and distributors of these opioid drugs. Why? Well, because the manufacturers are misrepresenting the dangerous propensities of these drugs. They're saying that they're, for example, that they're safe for chronic pain when they're most certainly not. Leads to increased risk of addiction, overdose death, so on. The distributors, in our opinion, are at fault as well because they have a statutory duty to oversee how these drugs wind up at the pharmacies throughout the country. And if they fail to report, excuse me, I'm losing my voice because allergies. If they fail to report suspicious activities, they're at fault. They have a legal duty to say, hey, this pharmacy over here is got 14,000 prescriptions when it's only got 5,000 residents. That's something that should put them on alert, and they should notify authorities. And we've seen it time after time that they failed to do that. Now, we represent over 60 cities and counties in this litigation. We've already filed 22 lawsuits in federal court. Most recently, we filed a lawsuit for Montgomery today, probably as I'm speaking right now. We represent Montgomery County, we represent Shelby County, and a number of other cities and counties throughout the state. Have a couple of cases for Georgia cities and counties and one in Tennessee. Our focus, though, primarily is Alabama, its cities and counties. We work on a contingency fee basis, and what that means to you guys is that there's no cost for the county to pursue this litigation. We front all of the expenses, we take all the risk, and we only get paid if we're successful on the county's behalf. So if we file a lawsuit and for whatever reason do not win, the county's not writing us a check, the county's not writing anybody a check, that's cost that we would incur and, for lack of a better description, eat. I think this is something that every city and county in the state is going to have to make a decision on whether or not they're going to file a lawsuit or not. Some may feel that it's not appropriate for that city or county. I think most counties have damages and are going to be entitled to some type of recovery through this litigation. And we would like to be the firm to represent Elmore County. Our proposed contingency fee, and that's the number one question, is what that fee is going to be, is 30%. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer it. I typically hand out a PowerPoint presentation, but because my printer was not cooperating today, I'll be happy to email that to you guys. But I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Sutton, we appreciate you being here. If you would forward that presentation on to Mr. Byer and maybe our legal counsel, Jeff Courtney, and they can get it to us. We, as I mentioned to you earlier, we definitely as a county commission recognize the seriousness of the opioid crisis, not only in our country but here locally in Elmore County, and we are putting forth our best effort as a commission with our legal counsel to provide us with the best avenue by which we can represent the citizens of Elmore County in an issue like this. And we have met with other law firms along with yours today in your presentation, and we intend to evaluate that and make some decisions. So
certainly.
Thank you very much for being here. Any commissioners have any comments or questions?
I do. We're up close to the top, aren't we, as far as opioid prescriptions?
Yes, actually Elmore County, the CDC has some statistics about prescription rates. In Elmore County in particular, for every 100 persons, there's 117 prescriptions. Now that's in 2016, but I would imagine that's going to be comparable in 2017. We haven't seen those results yet.
But statewide, we're way up top.
Yes, statewide, Alabama's #1 in prescriptions. That's not a good thing.
No.
But as far as within the state, Elmore County is in the top tier as far as opioid prescriptions.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else?
Yeah, I've got a question, if I may. Mr. Sutton, regarding the proposed litigation, our ongoing litigation, you know, I've been in law enforcement 34 years, and we've seen, and I concur, there is an opioid epidemic, but I also believe there's an alcohol epidemic. Probably just as many people die from alcohol-related situations as they do opioids. Do you know if there's any ongoing or proposed litigations against the manufacturers and distributors of alcohol as well?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay. What is the ultimate goal of the litigation? Is it just monetary damages? Is it to put more restrictions on the pain medications?
Two parts. Monetary is certainly a factor, but probably the more important part is the injunctive relief that is hopefully going to be available. And when I say injunctive relief, I'm talking about how these drugs are marketed to doctors throughout the country, because ultimately the doctor is going to be the person prescribing these drugs. Well, what we believe is happening now is that these physicians are getting bad information about how these drugs should be used, which is leading to this problem. And part of the injunctive relief hopefully will be to change how these doctors are educated on these dangerous propensities of these drugs, which in turn will hopefully curb the issue.
Thank you.
And don't you think the monetary relief will change their direction?
Absolutely. Anytime you
right.
hit them in the pocketbook,
Right.
it gets the company's attention.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, we appreciate you being here.
Sure. Thank you for
very
having me.
much. All right, we'll proceed now. Consider appointing Andy Dunn to act as HAVA, the Help America Vote Act, machine custodian for the 2018 election cycle. I'm not sure how many years Mr. Dunn has been doing this, but it's been a long time.
Yes, sir. That's what I was gonna say. Andy has been doing it for a number of years, probably close to a decade at least, with the county on his own. This and the next item, the temporary hire, are both items just getting ready for the 2018 cycle. We provide Mr. Dunn with a county employee to supplement this, but he does an excellent job, and this is also something that we have discussed with probate judge and the elections manager. So this is all in concurrence with their wishes as well. So,
Any comments or questions regarding Mr. Dunn? All right, we'll proceed to the next item. Discuss temporary hire of Andy Dunn to install electronic voting machines at Elmore County voting precincts per Code of Alabama 1975, Section 17-6-4A for the 2018 election cycle. So this is just in conjunction with his role regarding the machines. Any comments there? All right, we'll proceed. Consider adopting amended administrative order of the Elmore County Commission 2018-1 travel policies and procedures.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, in your packet, you should have a copy of the amended travel policy and procedures. I think the last time that this was taken up before the Commission and there were major changes to it was back in 2009. What we are asking for are some minor revisions to it to correct some titles to who the reports go to, who the employees and department heads turn in their reimbursement request. And then we have a number of entities that with the county that do training inside the river region or adjacent counties. And a lot of that was having to come to the Commission for approval when the dollar threshold was not very high. Most of the cases we're talking about, in one place it's at $100, another place it's $250. This standardizes it to get it to where there's a $500 limit for that kind of training that doesn't require overnight stays or any other kind of reimbursement, to kind of streamline it for the department heads. Several department heads had come to us talking about the need for that. So that's what we've put together. Neil's done a very good job in reviewing this, along with Kim catching our typos, and hopefully we've got something that is very simple changes but very effective in terms of how we manage the day-to-day with the travel policy. Still requires a lot of oversight on the travel. I can't just travel anywhere, but it makes it a lot more amenable to be able to make things function more efficiently.
So any overnight stay would require County Commission approval.
Yes, sir.
Any comments or questions there? All right, thank you. We appreciate the effort to be more efficient. We'll proceed with discuss Fair Housing Month proclamation. This is something we do annually in the month of April.
Yes, sir. This is a requirement of ADECA when we were applying for the CDBG grants, and it's just an April time frame proclamation that we adopt. And I think, Kim, you correct me if I'm wrong, but there's about 15 to 16 different things that you can do to just make sure you're promoting fair housing. And the two that are in your proclamation are two of the most common things that we do through commission meetings and other notices going out to the public.
Yeah, thank you. All right, proceeding, consider authorizing Chief Engineer and Operations Officer and Chairman to execute Revenue Administration Agreement with Revenue Discovery Systems. We received information about this in the last week or so. This is regarding sales tax revenue collections, is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you provide us with some information on how it's currently being done and what the changes will be to what the benefits of the change will be?
This contract, first and foremost, RDS used to collect the county's sales tax. The only two items that are affected are the sales tax that goes to the Board of Education and the special levy in the Prattville district of Elmore County. We have been in conversation with RDS for months now about the ability of going from the Department of Revenue back to them, and what are the advantages for Elmore County. And again, I'll say Neil's done an excellent job working with the RDS folks to get us in a point where our cost per transaction rate is lower in this contract, and our audit fees are not only lower but capped. And so again, going back to the conversation about the travel policy, we're just looking at ways that we can streamline what we're doing and also maximize the revenue that the county commission is already due, just making sure it's collected. So so a lower rate, lower and capped audit fees. The only exception to that would be is if we specifically asked them to go audit somebody like we thought that they were evading paying the tax. But again, we put about 4 or 5 months worth of back and forth and review, and I think Neil's pretty confident that we're going to realize not only a cost savings from the collection side, but a bump up in revenue as well. So, and this has also been discussed with the Board of Education. Their CFO and their superintendent were made aware of this on the front end when we even engaged RDS, so they knew that this was being discussed. So it's not going to be a surprise to either one of them that we're trying to find ways to get our costs down lower and collect the maximum revenue that is already levied. So,
thank you. Any comments or questions there?
Do you have a general dollar amount that we might save, Richie?
Right. The percentages are the main numbers that I had. I'd have to go back and get that from Neil. I can provide that for you though, of what that difference between 2% and 1.85 would end up meaning to our bottom line.
Thank you.
If there are additional audits need to be done over and above our cap that we've set in the contract, they will just bring that to us, and then we'll approve additional funds to be put toward audits.
The rates for all that are included. We just would approve the specific companies and approve the amount of time that we would allow them to. It's not done that way right now. It's kind of uncapped where they can audit as they see fit. So,
And that would be done on a per audit basis once we went over the cap?
yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I might be in order.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mayor Hammock has been, he and his people over there have been discussing somewhat of the same situation. Do you have any questions while we're discussing that, Mayor Hammock, that hadn't been addressed?
No, pretty much, I don't know what they're offering the city of Dallas. She's coming to our work session tomorrow, when the representative from RDS, we've been talking for several months, I'd already talked to Richard before the meeting about, some of the council members and council concerns, and where we get separate grants and stuff like that, that hadn't been very long.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we'll proceed then. Consider awarding bid inquiry number 2018 PW3 paving bid to the lowest responsible bidder.
Mr. Chairman, this and the next two items are kind of unique because they're public works bids. Typically, y'all would consider these in August, and we would do them with our annual bids. About 12 months ago, the examiners started questioning the fact that those should be bid as public works contracts instead of annual contracts. So that's why you're kind of seeing a little later delivery of those bids, but it's our annual paving bid, microsurfacing, and striping, but they had to be done in a completely different format. We will get these back on cycle using that new format. I don't know if y'all recall, but one of the sessions at the legislative conference for the ACCA was about this specific topic. That's part of the delay. So I just want to mention that just for the simple fact it's odd for us to award these bids in this time of year. But at the same token, there's some good reason behind it. And it increases our cost because of the advertising and all that. But at the end of the day, we're doing exactly what the examiners are asking all 67 counties to do, not just Elmore County. It was a statewide issue, not just one specific county. So the paving bid, microsurfacing, and striping bid items are all the same and go to the lowest responsible bidders. I think that's Asphalt Contractors, Whitaker, and Ozark Striping.
So these are not for specific projects, these are for those.
Yeah, we have bracketed amounts that if we issue a PO, we have some work that's scheduled for the summer, but there's also some cities and the Board of Education talking to us about possibly doing projects for them to get reimbursed. So all that will factor into what our bottom line contracts will be.
All right, thank you. All right, the next item, consider awarding bid inquiry number 2018 PW4 microsurfacing bid to the lowest responsible bidder. And the third item, which is all bundled together here, consider awarding bid inquiry number 2018 PW5 striping bid to the lowest responsible bidder. Any comments or questions regarding any of those? All right, we'll proceed. Discuss agreement with ALDOT for right-of-way acquisitions to provide for the widening of County Road 8, Redland Road from US 231, State Road 9 to County Road 4, Rifle Range Road, the bridge replacement at Harwell Mill Creek, bin number 10936, and intersection improvements at County Road 8, Redland Road, and County Road 4, Rifle Range Road. This is a project that I know has been going on for well over a year in terms of the planning and preparation for. We have a lot of citizens, this is in my district, who leaving the Redland area and going to Montgomery for work, coming down Redland Road and turning left onto Highway 231 is a pretty heavily trafficked area, and this will widen the road and the bridge where we currently have some repairs that we've just recently done on the bridge, correct?
That is correct. This will replace that bridge ultimately and do intersection improvements at Rifle Range and Redland, and it will acquire the right-of-way that is needed to completely widen that corridor once those two projects are done and the funds are available to do that widening. So getting this executed tonight will pave the way to go ahead and start having conversations with getting agreements in place for the utility relocations that will have to take place, and then that'll get us to a point to where we can, unless we have unforeseen reasons with the right-of-way acquisition, we'll get in a place where we can start talking about construction. One thing for the press here, this is the next step that we need to be able to ultimately replace the bridge that we've got our emergency repairs on, and so we get about a monthly update to a lot of the residents that complain about a little bump at the end of the bridge that we're having to go back and repair. But we're doing that because the cost to fix it right would be wasted when this project occurs. So just want to make that point, because I know the chairman and I have that conversation about once a month with several citizens in that area, and it's all being done out of economy and trying to be efficient out there. So.
And I appreciate that, and I do want to just comment on that. I think that you know, we've lowered the speed limit in that area for people approaching that bridge because of those repairs, and I think that it's important that we collectively as citizens, myself, my fellow commissioners, and all of us abide by the speed limits, and those bumps aren't nearly as severe as you think they are. So it's very important that you know, we've had several accidents on Redland Road, Rifle Range Road, Fire Tower Road, and those areas, and we continually need to, you know, monitor and do what we can to ease the traffic in those areas, but also, you know, personal responsibility in abiding by the speed limits, and it puts us all in a better position to be safe, including distracted driving. We'll proceed now with the consent docket with the approval of the travel memo. Any comments or questions there? One item. All right. We'll proceed with personnel notifications. Notification of promotion of Kelly Williams, Corrections Officer, to PREA Coordinator, new position effective 4/1/2018. Notification of change in classification of Anna Smirnoff, Lieutenant, effective 4/1/18. Notification of transfer of Taryn Franklin from analyst to dispatch, replace A. Dearly, effective 3/24/18. Proceed now with reports to the Commission. Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, just a couple items this evening. In your box, you should have a list of CDs that are maturing in the next month and a half, 2 months. I sent out an email to y'all, I think it was the end of last week, just kind of detailing out the process that we're going to follow to solicit some rates for future investments. And hopefully that is in line with what the Commission has directed us to do, and just wanted to make sure y'all were aware of that. Before any decision is made, we'll share all that and bring that back to the Commission. You also have in front of you 2 letters we received today with checks, and I apologize for the copy quality. The copier was corrected after I made these copies, but roughly close to $48,000 was returned to Elmore County for workers' comp and liability refunds, and that's based on our loss history and experiences that we have with the self-insurance fund. So you can read through, and there's some other commentary on there that we've gotten over the last several years. All that is being addressed in our updated personnel policy as well. So just want y'all to have notice of that. And then the last thing, and I've got copies for you up here, is in addition to the spring clean event that we're having this weekend that will encompass our countywide cleanup, and we also have our event, if the weather holds out, on the preparedness fair over at Tallahassee. We also have an upcoming event in May, on May 12th, at the Judicial Complex. It'll be our annual Shred Day, where citizens can bring up to 6 boxes of documents to be shredded. This is not for businesses or commercial entities, but we'll be doing that. And then shortly after we finish with the residents at noon, there's going to be several opportunities for our documents that the county has that is well over the required limits to hold to be shredded as well, and we'll be cleaning up. We're kind of having our own secondary spring cleaning on some of our items. So I'll give you a copy, and I've got a copy for the press as well, but you'll start seeing some discussion on that on social media and on the website as soon as we get through spring clean. The only other thing I'd say is if you didn't catch the chairman on WSFA today, he did an excellent job of walking straight into the studio and talking about our spring clean efforts, and you would have thought he and Judd Davis had been doing that together for several years. I was very impressed with the way that went. No rehearsal, just walk in cold, and hopefully we'll get some more feedback from residents that want to participate in the spring clean with us this Saturday morning. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have in the way of a report. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Byer? We'll proceed with reports from the Commission. Commissioner Holt.
The first thing I'd like to say is I appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight, and we appreciate your presentation. We'd like to have more citizens, but we're proud for the ones we do have to come. Something I wanted to mention, because it's a issue with me, is that there's a spring clean. And Richie, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you said something changed in the last day or so, but there's approximately a couple of hundred people involved in the spring clean. High school students, Boy Scout troops, things of that nature. So I'd like to say that we'd like to have everyone here to think about that. And if they're involved in any organization or with any entities that could help with that, I'd like to see it be a quarterly thing rather than just a once a year. If I'm not mistaken, this is the very first one, correct?
Yes, sir, it is, and it's tied in. It's tied in with the statewide PALS event that they have every April.
Right. That we implemented as a commission. So I'd like to see it be an ongoing thing, because if Elmore County is going to be a destination, it needs to be a clean county. So I think that's very important. But and I appreciate y'all's effort, Richie, in organizing that, because I know it took a good bit of work. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Commissioner Holt. Commissioner Daughtry.
I don't have anything at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Mercer.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to give an update on our legislative session that ended March 29th on some bills that passed that were of great interest to the counties. One of them that was passed and actually signed into law would be a authorization for our county commission chairman during those times of when totally lost my train of thought. when a state of emergency, I couldn't think the word state, when a state of emergency has been issued by the governor or the legislature, that he would have the ability, or he or she would have the ability to execute certain resolutions. It has been multiple times in the past when during a state of emergency it was hard to get the entire county commission together or get a quorum to have a meeting to pass resolutions that may impact the citizens. So that was a pass. The other item that was of great interest to the counties was we can now participate in a national purchasing cooperatives, which will ultimately result in saving taxpayers' dollars. And probably one of the largest items that was passed was a revision in the Simplified Seller's Use Tax Program. The way it was originally written was online retailers can take advantage of a program through the Department of Revenue, which allows them to collect a flat tax of 8% and distribute it throughout the state per a formula that's been established, as long as they didn't have a physical presence in the state. We've had one of the larger retail online retailers to have a presence in the state through the acquisition of another business that had a physical presence in Alabama. That felt like that was going to put this online retailer's ability to participate in the program at jeopardy. That was changed. Now the online retailers, I know we all see them on Walmart or Amazon, where items they tell you come from third-party resellers. Historically, they have not been able to collect the sales tax and pay it into the Department of Revenue for those sales made by the third-party sellers. That can happen now as well. So we're hoping that we're going to see an increase in the tax that comes into the state and then later, of course, into Elmore County. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Reeves?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Mayor Hammett, we'll give you a second. If you have anything you'd like to address the commission as an elected official, we'd love to hear from you if you have anything for us. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Briefly, I'll add a few things regarding Operation Spring Clean. That's taking place this Saturday. We hope to be organized and prepared around 8:30 a.m. with a beginning time around 9 a.m. We've got several of the schools in our community participating. We've given them assignments on certain roads. We'll be cleaning up roads all across the county in the right-of-way, cleaning up the litter. We're providing trash bags. We're providing vests for safety, and we'll also have some signage out there so that passers-by, cars driving by, will be aware that there are people out walking the roads doing some cleaning up. We'd invite any civic organizations, church groups, anybody else who would like to participate can contact the Highway Department this week and receive an assignment. We've also got some hashtags. Our Twitter handle for the Elmore County Commission is @ElmoreComm, C-O-M-M, and we've got a couple of hashtags that we would like people to use when they're taking pictures of the work that they're doing out in the cleanup. We also have the Lake Jordan Hobo Association is doing some cleaning up of the lake on the same day. We're hoping that we can collect some data so we can give some indication of how much trash is collected. We realize as a county commission, and I hope each of you realize, that it is impossible to pick up all the litter in one day, but our primary objective is to instill some pride among those who are out there cleaning up so that they then, in their daily lives, will look for opportunities to pick up that one piece of trash or that one can or whatever it may be. I had an experience today. I just was getting out of my truck in the parking lot, and a plastic bag an empty bag of sunflower seeds flew out of my truck when I got out. I had no intention of that going onto the road, just like many of you. But you know, it just takes a second to pick it up, and hopefully we all can do that and share that with someone else. And I think that we really can make a difference, and hopefully we can, as Commissioner Holt stated, do this type of thing on a regular basis. And I think we'll see a big difference. And so hopefully we can all participate, and you'll hear more about the results of that at our next commission meeting. And our next commission meeting will be held at a different time and day. because it is our Government Day, and Kimberly's going to announce that on the calendar, but that is when our senior high school students come to the courthouse, and they get to see some of the things that go on in county government, and they participate in our county commission meetings. So, Ms. Kimberly, important calendar dates.
We've gone through them all, but I'll go ahead and go back over them. This Saturday, there's a lot going on. We've got the Operation Spring Clean. The countywide cleanup is from 9 to 1 with the rotating location at the Cusata Post Office. And the Elmore County Preparedness Fair will be at the Tallahassee City School, Football Stadium from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. As you mentioned, next Thursday is Elmore County Government Day from 9 a.m. to 1:30. I remind all the commissioners to be here at about 9:15 for the introductions of the elected officials out front, and then we'll have the commission meeting at 9:30.
All right, thank you. We'll reconvene shortly. I would like to welcome you to the Elmore County Commission Business Meeting dated Monday, April 9, 2018. Let's call this meeting to order. We'll begin with an invocation offered by Richie Byer, following which Commissioner Mercer will lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
Will join me in prayer. Father, thank you for this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come together to do the business of this county, Lord. And I just pray that you would be with our leaders and not only our commissioners here as they conduct the business for the county, but our state and national leaders as they hopefully do your will and do the business of the people of our great nation. I just pray that you're with our troops as they're scattered all over the world, protecting our freedoms, Lord. And I just thank you very much for the greatest gift and the ability that we got to celebrate that this past week, and that's the eternal life that we have through your Son, Lord. Lord, I just pray this all in your Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Byron. Commissioner Mercer. Ms. Kim, would you call roll, please?
Commissioner Holt? Here. Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes,
Chairman
here.
Stubbs?
Here.
Commissioner Mercer?
Here.
Commissioner Reeves?
All right, we'll proceed with regular business. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the March 26, 2018 Commission meeting as presented during the work session?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Here. Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Proceeding, is there a motion to approve the memorandum of warrants for the period of March 17, 2018 through April 3, 2018? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Here. Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Proceeding to new business, is there a motion to approve appointing Andy Dunn to act as HAVA, Help America Vote Act, machine custodian for the 2018 election cycle?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve temporary hire of Andy Dunn to install electronic voting machines at Elmore County voting precincts per Code of Alabama 1975, Section 17-6-4A for the 2018 election cycle?
Motion approved. Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Yes. Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve adopting amended administrative order of the Elmore County Commission 2018-1 Travel Policy and Procedures?
Motion approved.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Yes. Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve Fair Housing Month proclamation?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Yes. Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve authorizing Chief Engineer and Operations Officer and Chairman to execute Revenue Administration Agreement with Revenue Discovery Systems, RDS?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Yes. Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Proceeding, is there a motion to approve awarding bid inquiry number 2018 PW3 paving bid to the lowest responsible bidder?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Studd?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve awarding bid inquiry number 2018 PW4 micro surfacing bid to the lowest responsible bidder?
Second.
Go ahead.
Give it to back.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Studd?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve awarding bid inquiry number 2018 PW5 striping bid to the lowest responsible bidder?
Motion approved.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Studd?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve agreement with AlDOT for right-of-way acquisitions to provide for the widening of County Road 8, Redland Road, from US 231, State Road 9, to County Road 4, Rifle Range Road, the bridge replacement at Harwell Mill Creek, bin number 10936, and the intersection improvements at County Road 8, Redland Road, and County Road 4, Rifle Range Road?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Studd?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the consent docket as reads?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Studd?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. Proceeding with personnel notifications, notification of promotion of Kelly Williams, Corrections Officer, to PREA Coordinator, new position effective 4/1/18. Notification of change in classification of Anna Smirnoff, Lieutenant, effective 4/1/18. Notification of transfer of Taryn Franklin from Analyst to Dispatch, replace A. Dearly, effective 3/24/18. Any additional reports to the Commission? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt? Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Studd?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.